On Friday, Pope Francis gave approval for two new saints that have gone through the process of canonization. And so for the two new saints, which will be Pope John the 23rd and Pope John Paul II, and it's really no surprise, they are both men of our modern times. Some have said, well, is it too soon for this really to be happening? But I think that it's good for us to know that in our modern times, there are saints living among us, each one of us having that potential to be a citizen of heaven one day, but that in our modern times we can be inspired by the life of those who were very holy, who led virtuous lives, and who were able to really continue to embrace the way in which Jesus called each one of us to live as well. We know quite a bit about John Paul II because he only died in 2005, and I'm sure a lot will be said about him. Before the end of the year, no date has yet been set for the canonization. But when we speak about John the 23rd, we may not know as much about him. He was the Pope back in the late 50s and early 60s who had convoked the Second Vatican Council under some of the guidance and some of the directives that had already been put forth by Pius XII. So he really was kind of looking to bring some reform to the church, being able to bring the church more into the modern times. He was known as the good pope. He loved people and he was very personable, even thought to have gone out of the Vatican sometimes in disguise, maybe just to walk around the streets of Rome to be a normal person. Kind of makes me think about Pope Francis, that when he left Buenos Aires back in March to go to the conclave, he never returned. It's been a couple of months. I hope he packed the right clothes with him because, he never went back there, and he doesn't really have any plans at the moment to go back anytime soon. So it's really he really left his life behind to serve the church, and that's very much what John the 23rd would have done as well. In the process of becoming a saint, it's not something that happens overnight. There's waiting periods, there's miracles that have to be looked into. There's a lot of different systems through the Vatican that are investigated, and different items. You have to actually have a miracle that is attributed to the particular person. In the case of John the 23rd, there was only one that was necessary, and he was first made what we call a servant of God. Then they become venerable, then they become blessed, and then a saint. So it's just a little bit of the process, and it can take years. And obviously, once again, it's beautiful to see how people of our modern times are being recognized in that way. John the 23rd had a very beautiful saying, though, something that he had said with regards to discipleship, which is really the theme of our gospel today. When he became Pope, he said, "I must strip my views of all useless foliage and concentrate on what is truth, justice, and charity." Strip his views of useless foliage. That's really very much what Jesus is saying today to the 72 who were appointed to go out and to preach the good news, to spread the kingdom of God. He wanted them to strip their lives of anything that was useless, that was not of God. You see, Jesus was sending them out as ambassadors in his name. So that meant that they had to really leave behind their identity to be able to go out and to preach the gospel, to leave behind any hatred, prejudice, envy, to leave behind any negativity or attitude, to leave behind their ego, and to go as an ambassador of Christ's name. And that's very much what discipleship calls us to, is to shed ourselves of that which is useless, of that which really has no purpose in our lives for the building of the kingdom, and to focus only on bringing the message of Christ. And he did say that when you pack, when you're going on this trip, don't bring a lot of things with you, but bring one thing. One thing, he said, was important, and that one thing was the gift of peace. And to be able to bring that as hospitality when you go into a home, to be able to spread the love and the peace of Christ. And I think that the message in this is so important for us today, because in our day, whether we go to work or whether we are at home, whether we go to the store, we come into contact with people. And no matter where we are, no matter what we are doing, we are called upon to be a disciple, because by virtue of our baptism, we don't leave that at home. We don't leave that at home. We bring and we share and we wear the cloak of Christ wherever we go. And so for ourselves, in our dealings with people and in our relationships as well, Jesus wants us simply to bring with us the gift of peace, to be able to spread that peace to others, and that especially in situations which may be complex, may be difficult, dealing with people who perhaps are unlovable, whether it be in our own eyes or whether it be in another's eyes, in the eyes of the world, no matter who it is that we are dealing with, we are called upon to bring that peace. Not to bring, and I think we all know it, when somebody comes to us looking for an argument. And unfortunately, there are people in the world who love conflict. There are some people who just want to get into it with you no matter what. And Jesus is really saying here, look, if they want to get into it with you, if their peaceful person does not live there in that body, then shake the dust off your feet and move on to the next town, because it's not going to be worth it. That you can try as hard as you want, but don't frustrate yourself. Do not let their outfit of negativity, of hatred, of prejudice, of ego, of bad attitude, don't take that on, but rather say, I need to move on to the next town. So very explicit instructions from the Lord today about our own relationships, about how we are called upon to spread the mission of the church, and most of all, to be called upon to spread his gift of peace. And how is it that we go about that? Because if we do it and we do it well, and we do what the Lord has asked of us, if we do what the Lord has asked of us, well, my friends, one day not only the names of Pope John the 23rd and of Pope John Paul II and of all of the other saints will be written in heaven, but if we do it well, my friends, our names will be written there as well. Our names will be written there as well, because by our deeds each day, perhaps they are being penned there in the streets of the kingdom of God as we speak now, because of our actions, because of our thoughts and our words and our discipleship. Today we invite into our family of God 2 children who are being baptized into the faith. And at this time, I invite the Lopez and Smith families to come forward with the child, the parents, and godparents, so that we can begin to write the names of these children in heaven, so that we can begin that beautiful process of being a disciple for these 2 little ones.